The scenario of a global war is becoming increasingly realistic. NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte has warned against this. At stake is the simultaneous destabilization of two locations, which could tie up the alliance's forces and force them to disperse. According to analysts, given the attitude of NATO's two key opponents, Russia and China, such a warning should be taken very seriously. That is why it is so important to maintain the transatlantic alliance between Europe and the United States, and to expand the armed forces of the treaty's member countries. The pride of the Chinese Navy, the largest of the two active aircraft carriers in the fleet, Shandong, accompanied by two destroyers and a missile frigate, it sailed to Hong Kong for the first time. The goal was clear, a demonstration of force and a signal sent to the United Kingdom, Australia and above all the United States. China has units capable of confronting the West. Over the years, our aircraft carrier fleet has expanded its operations to distant waters, while constantly increasing its combat readiness. China is preparing for armed confrontation. This is a fact. Increased military expenditure and the construction of specific types of weapons clearly show Beijing's goal. A few weeks ago, it was revealed that dozens of landing craft are in advanced stages of production. These are undoubtedly in preparation for an invasion of Taiwan. We will never allow Taiwan to be separated from China, but what is worth noting is the ruling Democratic Progressive Party on the island of Taiwan. It is trying by all means to achieve Taiwan's independence, which is very dangerous. China will look for an excuse. Provocations by the Air Force or Navy are commonplace. That is why Taipei is strengthening its relations with its allies, who are also Beijing's biggest opponents. In fact, this is also a strategic communication. By making our citizens aware of the capabilities and determination of our national army, we're also telling the other side that we are ready to defend our country. All our combat capabilities are based on exercises to deter China from its intentions to invade. However, the only force capable of deterring China from invading Taiwan is the North Atlantic Alliance. That is why Beijing is trying to play a strategic game in which it can use its alliance with Russia. The NATO Secretary-General has warned against such a scenario, speaking in an alarming tone about the impending potential global confrontation. There's an increasing realization, and let's not be naive about this. If Xi Jinping would attack Taiwan, he would first make sure that he makes a call to his very junior partner in all of this, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, residing in Moscow, and telling him, hey, I'm going to do this, and I need you to keep them busy in Europe by attacking NATO territory. This is why analysts emphasize that when it comes to security, there are no areas that are not interconnected today. And so, the potential threat of a Russian invasion of the Baltic states or Poland is closely linked to China's policy. If China decides to attack Taiwan, it will want to use Russia in some way. It will say more. Russia wanted to use China for this purpose, so I'll do that again. If China decides to attack Taiwan, it will want to use Russia in some way. I will say more. Russia wanted to use China for this purpose because before the invasion, the Olympic Games were held in China, and Putin and Xi Jinping met there. I'm convinced that at the time, Putin may have tried to find out, if Russia attacks Ukraine, will Xi give the order to attack Taiwan? So this is a likely scenario. What does this mean for Poland? First of all, it confirms the belief that regional interests have become part of the global game. Secondly, that the era of diplomacy is coming to an end. And finally, thirdly, that military alliances, for example with the United States, and the expansion of our own defense capabilities are crucial for our future today.